Good morning and welcome to the Morning Spotlight Podcast. This is our Christmas extravaganza special episode. It's December 22nd. I'm Mike Ham, your host. We're coming to you from, of course, the Spotlight Studios here in Morristown, New Jersey. We're doing something a little bit different today. Like I said, today's Tuesday, December 22nd. This Friday is Christmas Day, so this will be our Christmas special. So what we're doing is, because no one really wants to hear us talk about real estate or business or anything boring, I mean, not that this show is ever boring, but nothing too serious this week because it is the holidays. It's the holidays of 2020. We made it to the holiday season. 2020 has obviously been a crazy ride for sure. But what we're going to do today is we're going to bring on some people that have been guests before on the show, some multiple times, all three multiple times actually, to talk about foundations that they're a part of. And what I think is just so great is that everybody is now into the holiday season, even though you might not feel like it is, because like I said before, this year has been just a total blur. And we've gotten to these holidays and they're obviously going to be a little bit different than the holidays that we're used to. And, that's the best that we can do. But if you're in the holiday spirit, if you're in a giving mood, we're going to highlight three different foundations that our guests, like I said, have been guests already on the show. They're involved in some capacity, whether they founded it. Ricardo and Devin both founded their foundations. Monica serves on the board of hers. So we'll be talking to Ricardo Zulueta Jr., which will be his third time on the show, about his foundation Start Day One. We're going to bring back three-time Olympian and a great guy, Devin Harris, to talk about his foundation, Keep On Pushing. And we're going to bring back Monica Demma for her fourth time on the show. So she's really, a frequent flyer here on the Morning Spotlight to talk about Project Kind. I think that is a great way to kind of put these people out on the forefront, because these people are people that just like to help people all the time. We've all kind of gone through our own stuff throughout this year, whether good or bad, really good, really bad, whatever it is. And I think that now is just a good time to remember that there's people that are dealing with stuff all the time, not just in 2020, 100% of the time. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk to Ricardo, Devin, and Monica in that order about their foundations. I will put all the contact information that you would need if you do want to get involved or help out or reach out to them for more information about their foundation. Please do so, because obviously they're all great causes. That's why we're talking to them. And by the end of the episode, hopefully you kind of get more into the giving spirit and you help them out. So we're going to start with Ricardo and we're going to talk about Start Day One. So first up on our Morning Spotlight Christmas extravaganza special, we have a guy that everybody should pretty much know by now. He's you're a recurring guest already, Ricardo Zulueta Jr. Ricardo, welcome back, man.
Hey, thank you so much, Mike. Really appreciate coming back.
Absolutely. Third time on the spotlight. Not many people make it to that level of, status. So, right. But we're happy to have you back. Obviously, the first time you were on, when you came on to talk about Phuket and we had the mental health episode, we did talk about your foundation, Start Day One. But the whole purpose of this show, which everybody should know by now, I just introed it before, is to highlight some of these foundations a little bit more in depth. So tell us what Start Day One is and how it got started.
Sure. So Start Day One is a nonprofit foundation for mental health and suicide prevention, where we have a more proactive approach in helping people rather than reactively waiting for people to get mental health issues or suicidal tendencies. I've learned when we talked about Phuket clothing that when we talk to people in advance and really interact with them, the proactive approach is just a lot more effective in saving people's lives rather than always waiting for them. So that's where we implemented it with Start Day One. We learned from that we really need to be reaching out to them rather than waiting for them to reach out to us. So everything we do is basically to help people change their perspective from dreaming of one day to starting day one.
Awesome. So how did it, what made you interested in this, passionate about it? How did it get started?
Yeah, so it actually started from the clothing, right? Phuket clothing. The more I analyzed that, and when I was doing events, when you do anything inspirational, it always goes towards mental health, right? Inspiration, motivation, all of a sudden mental health, just like that. Yep. So anyway, we got involved in that. I never brought up anything about suicide prevention before, but when people approached me about it, and then I talked about it because I actually lost my brother to suicide. And so, being that I was inspirational, I would just tell him like a different mindset, a different perspective on things. And then typically every time we talk about the brand, we would get like these random responses.
Right.
Thank you so much for helping me out. But the best ones obviously are the ones that say, hey, I was actually suicidal when I met you. So thank you for saving my life. And I'm like, whoa. So, and then being that I lost my brother also and putting it all together and the inspirational aspect, and I'm going like, this is what my brother needed. Like this is what would have worked. So I'm just like, why don't we do it this way?
Awesome. Yeah, it's fantastic. I think it's a great, from the clothing line to start day one, the whole thing, I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
So tell us, I know you mentioned it when you were doing your lead up, start day one.
Yeah.
Like, what does that actually mean?
Yes. So the reason we called it start day one, we always knew, from the brand, we knew that it was changing people's perspectives, right? Because all your decisions follow your perspective. Beyond that, it's also the purpose, but we want to really get into that right now. But it was just the I guess. Shoot, now I'm losing my train of thought.
What is start day? What is start
day
day
one?
Start day
one. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
we're trying to run a professional show, Ricardo. Come on, man.
Yeah, all of a sudden I lost track of it.
That's all right. That's all right.
But yeah, start day one. So we figured it was just really changing people's perspectives, right? But before we can change people's perspectives, because we want them to make a decision. So the decision is really the most important thing, but you can't do that without changing your perspectives. And a lot of people can't seem to do that because they get so overwhelmed with how much they need to change or do. For example, someone that needs to lose weight when they're 500 pounds. It's so hard because 500 pounds. So start day one means there's a day two, there's a day three, there's a day four. People get overwhelmed with how much they need to do, but really it's actually because they don't know where to start. So when you're trying to lose weight, we're not saying lose weight all in one day. Take a walk around the block. If you're an alcoholic, I'm not saying quit tomorrow, dude, but one less beer today. How's that? You're smoking cigarettes? Hey, one less cigarette today, man. Or this week. No matter what, it starts with day one because people think that it's always where it starts. It always starts with day one.
Right.
So that's what we have to push.
Gotcha. Okay. So what are some ways that you get your message out? I know you have the clothing brand, but what are some other ways that you've been trying to get the message of start day one out to the general population?
So yeah, one of the ways is doing our own live broadcast. So we've been interviewing different professionals, different fields, different knowledge, and just trying to figure out ways of changing people's perspectives. So for example, last week, I interviewed someone that just recently broke up in a relationship. So I figured like, hey, that would be a great thing to talk about. It's really fresh in her mind.
Yep.
I wanted people to relate to her, right? And it's the holidays is tough to be in a breakup. So I'm just like, hey, let's talk about a holiday heartbreak, and really let's help change people's perspectives and what they're going through, that it's not that bad and things like that. Just when you change your perspective on things, it's so much different than just trying to motivate someone to be happy. That doesn't work.
Yep. Yeah. And then for people that are going to watch this on YouTube, and for the people listening, you can't see, but you have a lot of teal on, your sweatshirt. You got it on the computer there. So tell us the importance of the color teal.
Yes. So like I mentioned before, it's all about being proactive. And what I've seen, it's kind of like diabetes, right? The way we're treating mental health is so different. What people do is look for symptoms. But imagine everyone looking for symptoms of diabetes rather than telling their kids to stop eating sugar on Halloween, to not exercise and stay on the video games. We automatically do that to prevent diabetes, right? Well, it's the same thing with mental health. You have to do things proactively. What we've learned was like people are always looking for the symptoms, like a depressed kid. Oh, he's not good leaving the room. Or if he's leaving the room, then I guess I don't need to talk to him. Everything seems to be fine.
Yeah.
But there's things that you can do to prevent it proactively. So we came up with this acronym for TEAL that reminds people of what you can give to help prevent in mental health issues and suicidal tendencies. It basically stands for time, effort, attention, love. It's almost like the vegetables to prevent diabetes and exercise. It's the same thing for mental health issues. So if you can provide teal today, don't wait, then it'll just help people.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And then, so what are some goals that you have because Start Day One is still relatively new, right?
Yeah.
So what are some goals for the foundation that you have? Like where do you hope to kind of get it to over the next, let's say, year or two?
Yeah, so in the next year, what we'd really want, well, it's been difficult because of the pandemic. We really wanted to get into the schools because they're hurting right now. The kids during the pandemic is probably one of the most hurt. The anxiety is going up, depression, all that stuff is like going up. And so really getting involved more in really getting speakers to go out there more, because that's exactly what we do. So what we raise funds for is so that we can produce more content that can help inspire and change people's perspective. Number two is sending more speakers out to different venues like high schools, colleges, rehab centers, military bases, instead of waiting for them to reach out to us, right? So we can provide the service for free. And also another thing we're gonna be adding is like life coaching services that are gonna be affordable, because those are the best ways to prevent. And so that's what we raise money for. So for next year, we really just wanna be able to, one, raise more money, obviously, but to get out there and really send more speakers and develop almost a guideline of what they can talk about, because we have such a different philosophy than most organizations. So it's kind of tough to just get any life coach or any motivational speaker. If they don't believe in our philosophy, it's not going to work.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So for people that are listening, right. So you're the first foundation that we're going to talk about. Obviously, we're going to put all the links that you have in the show notes along with Devin's and Project Kinds and everything. So what are some ways that people can get involved? I'm sure there's a link to donate, but what are some other ways people, if they want to get involved with Start Day One, what are some ways that they can do that?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the ways is really figuring out who we might be able to talk to, whether you have connections with a school or just a group or just anywhere where we can really relay our message, because it is very unique. Most people really get surprised when we start talking about how we deal with mental health issues and suicidal tendencies, and it's really effective. That's really the most important thing, is getting that knowledge out there. And that's why I guess I'm adamant with getting the talking and doing this, is because I feel bad that I know this knowledge that can help people, but they just don't know about it.
Right.
And if we can get more people to spread. So if there are people interested in being speakers, we're going to provide you with like a guideline. We're developing that right now, that you can, everyone has their own stories of struggle and also accomplishments. So you can integrate that into the guideline. We just want to make sure that it sticks to the same philosophy that can really help people and inspire them. Again, it's always about changing their perspective. So if we can get more people to really get involved in that aspect of getting more audiences and more speakers, that's awesome.
Awesome. So yeah, I mean, like we talked about it on the first time that you were on. I mean, I think the whole Phuket idea, I think the whole Start Day One, mindset and goals and everything like that of what what you're trying to help and do with what you have is just tremendous. So if everybody listening, I'm going to say this throughout the show, make sure that if you have, if you want to get involved, if you want to talk to Ricardo about what he has and the clothing line, the foundation, everything, make sure you do that. His contact information will be in the show notes, as well as the Start Day One link. I'll put the Phuket link in there too, because I think it's all connected and relevant. Ricardo, again, I mean, you probably put over 2 hours worth of content on the Morning Spotlight this year. So I really appreciate it. And thank you for coming on again.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michael, and spreading the word about our foundation and our mission. So
absolutely, and happy holidays, man. Happy holidays.
Yeah, the same thing here, right? That's right. Yeah, maybe I'll be in another talk in 2021.
I'm sure you will. I mean, I would not bet against that. I'm sure you're going to come back because you're a recurring guest now. Every show needs to have a recurring guest, and you're one of them for sure. So
that's it. I look forward to it, man.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. And I appreciate it. And we'll see you in 2021, man.
Sounds good.
All right.
See ya.
Bye. And next up, in our Christmas special of the Morning Spotlight podcast, we're going to welcome back three-time Olympian, Devin Harris. Devin, welcome back, man. Good to have you.
Man, it's great to be on the spotlight. In the spotlight.
In the spotlight.
Yeah, thank you for having me on again.
It's great. I mean, like we talked about your foundation, Keep On Pushing, when you did your episode back in, I don't even remember, what was that, like July, August?
Yeah, probably.
It was a while ago. And it's been too long since we've had you back, I think. So it's good to see you again and everything. So how have you been holding up so far?
So far, so good, you know. Yeah, I
feeling good.
I breathe in, I breathe out, baby.
That's all you got to do. So like I said, when you were on the last time, we talked about Keep On Pushing, but we're going to dive into it just like a little bit more. So to give everybody a little bit more in-depth view of like what it is, what the foundation is, who it supports, all that kind of stuff, how they can support the foundation. So tell us what Keep On Pushing is.
Yeah, sure. So thank you for that, man. And thank you for inviting me back on. So I'll tell you how we got started. Back in 2006, I went back, I was in Jamaica, I went back to the old neighborhood. And for those who listen to the previous podcast or know my story, knows I'm from the hood.
Yep.
Not the neighborhood, the hood.
The Jamaican hood, yeah.
I'd gone to my old elementary school, speaking to the principal there. I asked him what was the biggest issue that he was having, and it was that kids were coming to school hungry. And I understand the situation, man. If you are hungry, you can't learn. If you don't learn, you don't get educated. And if you don't get educated, it means that you have missed the bus. And in, an environment like that, if you've missed the bus, Michael, you have missed the bus.
Right.
And so I was inspired to do something because, quite frankly, I am one of those kids. I see myself in them. And so we started the Keep On Pushing Foundation. It was initially called the Devin Harris Foundation, just to give people a little bit of background. And so we're a 501c3 registered right here in New York, but the work is being done at the moment back home. We do the breakfast program and a school supplies program at my old elementary school, and we have supported in the past up to 10 different schools with book bags and pencils and that kind of stuff. And we're actually wrapping up now, just like adding the paint and the finishing touches to a new sick bay, we call it. It's kind of, think of it as a nurses station, a place where kids who aren't feeling so well during the day they will have a couple of beds. They can go rest up. And then there's an office for the guidance counselor. As you can imagine, many of these kids have issues. And so she can have a quiet, private place to speak to them and guide them along.
Awesome. So, I know that, you talked about some of the work and stuff like that you've already done. So like, what are some goals that you have for the foundation moving forward?
Yeah, so to institute what I call a behavior modification program is really just to find some mentors, especially professionals who can speak with many of these kids who have genuine trauma and mental, emotional issues. And then perhaps the most ambitious thing that we have on our plate is to create a digital academy. And but we're going to start small. And the idea is to first develop computer labs in these schools. Because believe it or not, even 2020, many of these schools, and it's a big struggle that, with these kids during COVID-19, getting remote learning, and they don't have the equipment at home. So we want to create computer labs in the schools to really provide some serious IT computer training for the kids who are in the school. And then, after school hours, during the evenings and weekends and holidays, to provide similar training to the young people in the neighborhoods as well, to better equip them to navigate and excel in the 21st century economy.
Yeah, definitely. So like one thing that I don't think I asked the first time you came on was, especially from the foundation's perspective, so you have like the Keep On Pushing brand, right? Because like Keep On Pushing is not just the foundation, that is like your slogan, your motto, right? And we talked about keep on pushing as it pertains to like when you do your motivational talks and everything like that. But what made you change the foundation from the Devin Harris Foundation to the Keep on Pushing Foundation? Is there a reason why Keep on Pushing is good for the kids that you kind of see yourself in?
Well, it's a couple of things. One, I didn't want it to be all about me,
Right. You're not an ego guy, I could tell. Definitely not an ego guy.
Really? Oh man,
Yeah.
you just hurt my ego, dude. But yeah, I didn't want it to be all about me. That was one. Two, I was like, I think of Paul Newman. Granted it's his name, but he has a brand, a company that sells all this stuff. And then I don't know how much of it, of the proceeds goes towards charity. And so my goal is to hurry up and build this Keep on Pushing brand, so I can I'll be able to contribute significantly
Right.
to the charitable work. That was one. Two, or that was two. Three, it's about imparting the Keep on Pushing message and philosophy to
Right.
the kids as well. So,
Which is tell us the message, because I love the message and I think it's just going to fit perfectly right in the whole episode that we're going to do here.
Yeah, it basically, regardless of where you find yourself, the circumstances you find yourself in, no matter who you are, man, you have the ability, and I would dare say the responsibility, to keep on pushing yourself to get yourself out of those circumstances. And it's about not allowing yourself, embracing the victim mentality, but rather figuring out what it is you can do, because there's always something you can do. And in the grand scheme of things, the thing that you do might be tiny, but for the moment, it's the biggest thing you could do. It's the next best thing you can do, and it gives you hope. And, I often say that hope is the lifeblood of possibility.
Absolutely. And I just think it's so incredible, just like, because, like we, for people that don't know Devin's story, like we don't have the time to go into it, but it's just an incredible story. So you should go listen to the episode that I did with him. But I just think that it's so perfect, because it encapsulates kind of like what your life has been, coming from where you are, like similar to what these kids are going through now. And kind of, from going to the military academy in Great Britain, and then the Olympics 3 times, and then everything like that. I just think it perfectly encapsulates what you're all about. So for people that are listening to this and they're like, hey, I want to support Devin's foundation, so how would they go about doing that? What are ways that they can support, maybe beyond just like a monetary type support? What are some ways they can get involved?
Really good question. Thank you for that. So our website, which is still being developed, but you can get good information on there, keeponpushing.org. And you can email me directly, devon@devonharris.com is perhaps the easiest way. And so you can donate. There's actually on my website, devonharris.com, there's a link to the foundation as well. So you can make monetary donations there. If you want to donate in kind, book bags or whatever, drop me an email or call me at 1-844-KEEP-ON, and we can make arrangements. But I'm also, it's a really good point you brought up, Michael. I'm also very interested in creating a group of volunteers with different skill sets, because as I said, down the road we want to create behavior modification programs, but we also want to do medical missions and that kind of stuff. So if that's your skill, if you have any kind of skill and you feel like you want to give back, hey, let's have a conversation, man. Let's create a list of people, and then we can figure out who we have and when we can go to make a tremendous difference in the lives of these kids.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's great, because kids is where it starts, man. They gotta help these kids, make sure they get off on the right foot, for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing the thing that all of us have in common, Michael, regardless of where we're from and what we look like, we're all kids.
Exactly. Definitely. Well, this was great. So make sure like Devin gave all his links and his email address, but I will make sure that I put everybody's links and email addresses in the show notes. So for all the foundations that we talk about today, make sure you go check those out. Do what you can to help out Devin and everybody. Devin, I appreciate you coming on again. Hopefully we'll have you on again. I mean, I would have you on every week if I had the choice, honestly.
Well, I don't know if your audience would like that, but hey, man, I get a chance to be in the spotlight. I can't say no.
That's right. Yeah. I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on. And then we'll catch you next time.
All right. I'll be around. Thank you.
And last but not least, we're going to bring back someone that's been on the show the most out of anybody. Fourth time on the Morning Spotlight, Monica Demma, to talk about Project Kind. Monica, welcome back.
Thanks for having me. One of these days I'll get it right.
I know. We keep trying. I mean, you did do pretty well. You wore the lumberjack shirt. I have my lumberjack shirt on. I look more like a lumberjack, I think, because I have the beard, but
I'm working on it.
Yeah. Working on it. All right, great. So we're talking about Project Kind. So you are obviously someone that's very involved in Project Kind. So tell us what Project Kind is.
So Project Kind is a great foundation. Start that out. Project Kind is a non-for-profit foundation that aims to help those experiencing homelessness in a variety of ways. So it's everything from peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to toiletry bags, all the way to winter coats and blankets. Jenny is great about kind of crowdfunding and raising money for specific individuals. She'll feature somebody on social media. They might just need, $1,000 to get their car repaired, and having a repaired car means that they can get to a job, which means they get to keep their apartment, which means they get to keep their kids, and so on and so forth. And the things that maybe we take for granted, she helps people achieve individually, one by one, and sometimes she'll help other charities as a group. Provide food to them so they can give their outreach to their communities. So Project Kind is really a lot of things to a lot of people, but really in the end, it is helping people experiencing homelessness or on the brink of it.
Right. So you mentioned Jenny, and obviously you're talking about Jenny DePaul, who started Project Kind. So how did this all get started? Like what were the first steps that she took to actually get, Project Kind of off the ground, I guess?
So, and she has some great videos about this on her website, but to recap it, I believe the start of it was because of her children and wanting to be a good role model and do something with them that makes an impact. So it started off with just driving to Newark and providing sandwiches and having conversations with people down there. And then she saw there was such a need. One sandwich isn't going to cure hunger. So she kept making the trips back in and having more conversations and seeing, again, more needs. So it just evolved from there, showing compassion, showing love to people that might be forgotten. You walk by them on the street in Manhattan or in California, and you don't think twice sometimes. And for her, she just wants to talk to everybody and help everybody that she passes. So it's fulfilling. I believe it's really fulfilling for her and also the people that she speaks with.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I think it's just so cool that it's gone from her driving into Newark at night to drop off peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and now she travels all over the country to go help people. I don't even know how she finds these people or how they find her or whatever. So
it's a mix of both. So she has a great connection in California, like Skid Row and that area, LA. But then there's people in Georgia that she's helped, and with a lot of her partners in kindness, which she calls, the corporate donors. If she gets a $5,000 donation from Starbucks, she'll see how many people she can help with that. So she actually wound up going to Georgia this past summer to give out grant money that she had received from Starbucks so people can stay in their apartment. She's been to Chicago. She's done several trips out to LA from the East Coast, but she still goes on her midnight runs to Newark and tries to help as many people as she can there.
Right. And then the kindness closet. Talk about what the kindness closet is. That's hard to say really 5 times fast, but tell us what the kindness closet is.
The kindness closet is a great opportunity for people to interact with other volunteers or just to donate goods, especially now in the winter, they're looking for blankets, jackets, food obviously is still in need. The kindness closet, the idea behind it is you can come and take what you need. And obviously donate if you have. So again, people can just come in at any point during the day when they're open. If they need 10 sandwiches, she'll give you 10 sandwiches. You know, you need some socks for your kids, you can go there and get some socks. They did an open house a couple of months ago where, you know, the community can just come out, give and take, because the whole premise of Project Kind is to give what you can and take what you need. So the kindness closet's an area to do that. And the hope is over the next couple of years, she can open several kindness closets around the country, you know, similar to what other organizations are doing, so that people can do the same thing in those needy communities.
Right. And I know you're at the kindness closet quite a bit. I don't know if I ever even asked you this. Like, how'd you get connected with Jenny and get involved with Project Kind? Because obviously, I mean, like this year, for people that don't know, Monica ran virtual networking events. We talked about that when we were doing our networking episode back. I don't remember when that was now because we've done so many episodes of this show. But like when you were running your virtual networking events, obviously they were free, but you opened it up for donations, and part of the donations would go to Project Kind. So how did you get started with Project Kind? Like, what drew you to it?
A couple of things. So a couple of years ago, I happened to be sitting in Starbucks just doing work from there. And she was there talking to another peer of mine. And over the months, you know, I got to talk to her a little bit more, get to know her more. But really what happened was going to London last September for Positivity Summit. She was one of the charities that was being featured, and the goal was to do outreach in London, which is actually super hard, to try to give food to homeless people there. I don't know why there's such barriers to do it, and I don't know. But seeing her do that so selflessly, trying to make it happen in an area that really, it just doesn't typically happen, was phenomenal. And prior to that, we had been walking on the street to get our Starbucks coffee in London, and obviously, and you know, I was walking with her, and she had seen this homeless man at the top of the tube, the metro, and he was just looking for change, trying to give out some newspapers or something. And she stopped and talked to him and said, you know, what do you need? He's like, you know, I need money for food and this and that. And she's like, well, can I give you my coffee? And like, without even questioning, just hands him the coffee that she'd been looking forward to all day, you know, all morning. And she just gave it to him without worrying about herself. And that act of selflessness, I was like, well, I have to get to know this woman a bit more.
Yeah.
So when, you know, we talked afterwards, and it's just the stars aligned. I was able to help her in certain ways, and she's helped me in a bunch of ways, and seeing her impact lives is just phenomenal. So I think if we all had more friends like that, the world would be a better place.
Definitely. Yeah. Because she is really great. I mean, I've talked to her a couple of times, and she was a guest on the LinkedIn video series portion of the Morning Spotlight. And that was obviously great. So I think it was good to kind of hear like how you got involved with Project Kind. So because I want people that are listening, because they're going to hear information about 3 different foundations today. And if there's one that they're more inclined to help out than the other, I mean, it's not a competition, obviously, but it's good to hear like why you do what you do. Because I mean, Ricardo and Devin, they started their foundations because something very close to their hearts, and there was a reason why they did it. You joined kind of into it, you know? So I think it was just good to kind of hear that. So if people are feeling like what you felt, and they want to give back to, you know, homeless people and fight hunger and homelessness and all that, what are ways that they can get involved?
So there's 3 ways: donating time, donating money, and donating products. So some corporate sponsors have donated toiletries, you know, shampoo, soap, sanitizer, all of that. Money is always needed because, you know, obviously it takes money to have the kindness closet open. It takes money to go fly and help people around the country, on top of actually helping them as well. And then, you know, donating your time, going down to the kindness closet and helping to make sandwiches, or just dropping off pre-made sandwiches, organizing the closet, trying to organize events, anything that's time related, because time is so precious. You can't really put a monetary value to that all the time. But look at her website, look at the projectkind123.org website. And, you know, there's plenty of options in how to help them.
Yeah. And you mentioned events. So this episode is airing on December 22nd, and there's a event at the Closet tonight, right?
Yes. Yep. Tonight at 6:30. Space is limited up to 20 people so that we can be somewhat distant,
Right.
because it is indoors. And it's just going to be a networking opportunity, community outreach opportunity, and just a good time.
Absolutely. So then this might be something that I don't know if you can answer this question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. So what are there goals? I mean, I know you said that Project Kindness, because you're a part of the advisory board, right?
Yes.
All right. So the Project Kindness trying to get more, like a goal would be to have more kindness closets in other parts of the country. Are there other goals, to like help more people, to just expand? Are there, different things that you're trying to get to by like within the next year or something?
I'm also, beyond being part of her advisory team, I'm also her fundraising chair. So I'm trying to get hundreds of thousands of dollars, because again, the more money that we have, the more that we can impact different communities and
Right.
build closets. So I think the 2021 plan is to get a couple $100,000 more than we did last year. And it, obviously with COVID, it was a little bit difficult to have fundraising and do outreach the way it should be done.
Yeah.
So 2020 was a bit of a setback. So I think the goal is $250,000 for 2021.
Okay, great. So hopefully the Spotlight listeners, the Spotlight crew can help you get there. So, Monica, thank you for coming on, talk about Project Kind. Like I said, the last 3 people that have been on already, all of the information about Project Kind will be in the show notes. So contact information, website, all that. So if you're in the holiday spirit and you're in the giving mood and you want to help out, make sure you do so. Monica, for the 4th time, thank you for coming back on the Morning Spotlight. Really appreciate it.
Of course. Happy to talk with you anytime, Mike.
And that is going to wrap up our Christmas special. So thank you for listening. If, like I said at the end of each segment, if you do want to get involved or help out any one of these foundations, whether it's Start Day One, whether it's Keep On Pushing, whether it's Project Kind, they're all great causes. They're all great people. They're all trying to do good in the world. And that's the best that we can ask for. So make sure you do so. So look at the show notes. There'll be contact information. There'll be websites. So if you do want to get involved, please do that. We will be back on Tuesday, December 29th. We will get back with our last episode of the year, the last episode of 2020, before we flip the script on this year and get into 2021. Next week will be a real estate episode. We're going to talk to Chris Pomerleau and Colin Schwartz of Park Ave Capital out of Omaha, Nebraska, which was a great episode to record, and I really think you guys are going to enjoy it. But in the meantime, have a Merry Christmas, great week, great weekend. Hopefully you're able to see family if you're able to. If not, we'll make it through. We've made it through this entire year. We can make it through holidays that look a little bit different than we're used to. So have a Merry Christmas, and we will catch you next week.